today's video, to start off the holiday season, I'm going to be watching Silent Night, Deadly Night for the first time ever. Yes, I have never seen this film. I just don't know how I've just gone about without seeing this one. But I am actually going to be watching it on Tubi, so if you have not seen that film or you want to rewatch it this holiday season, you can watch it on there for free. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I just kind of wanted to film this in a bit of a come with me style video where I kind of talk about it before going in to see it. This is obviously, I feel like, a fan favorite. People in the horror, I've heard mostly highly about this film in the horror community. I feel like especially the second one gets a lot of hype, but I am going to be watching the first one. If you think that I should watch the second one, let me know that as well. But there will also be a link to a playlist where you can see all of the Christmas horror films or holiday horror films that I've already reviewed in past years, so make sure you check that out before making any suggestions. But I'm really excited to check this one out. I hope that I enjoy it. I hope that it's really good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it, and feel free to, of course, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be right back.
You've made it through Halloween. Now try and survive Christmas. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Okay, so I just finished with watching, and I liked it. So, if you have not seen this film, I will give a trigger warning for sexual assault and rape. I know there are people out there that get about giving trigger warnings for horror films. I'm not one of those people. I think it's perfectly okay to not want to see certain things in horror films, that certain things can be triggering for people. I personally tend to try to avoid watching things that have rape scenes. I've talked about that on my channel before, so if you are not new here, you would already be kind of aware of that fact. And obviously going into this film, I did not realize that that was going to be an aspect of this. It's not too horribly graphic, luckily, but there are some scenes, and the kind of most intense graphic scene in it is combined with flashbacks of a earlier scene, so just be aware, if you have not seen this film yet, that content is in this. So just I want everybody to be forewarned if you do decide to watch this film. It was upsetting, obviously, to watch, but for me personally, everyone has, you know, their different levels, so for me personally, wasn't too horrible. But just wanted to get that out of the way before talking about the rest of the film. Now, going into this, all I knew about it was that it was about a killer Santa. I have seen comparisons between this and another film called A Christmas Evil, which I reviewed last year. So if you want to see my review for that, you can check that out. And that movie precedes Silent Night, Deadly Night, and it is kind of similar to that film as far as the concept. It is about a guy who is triggered by something that happens to him as a child involving Santa. In spoiler warning, obviously, for Christmas Evil as well. But in that film, he's more triggered by seeing his mother have sex with Santa. In this one, Billy, who is our main character, experiences his family being murdered and his mother being assaulted by Santa. Now, the version I watched of this film is the uncut, unedited version. That is what's available on Tubi, so I should put that as well. So I should, just to be informed of that as well. So I don't know if a edited version would be maybe less graphic in some of those aspects. Obviously, never seen it, so I don't know. But they are somewhat similar, but there are quite a lot of differences between this one and that one. I did enjoy Christmas Evil, as well as this one. Now, this film definitely has a more kind of slow burn aspect to it. The events that take place with Billy's family happen pretty early on in the film, but after that we end up following Billy. We find out what happens to him afterward. Him and his younger brother, who's an infant when everything happens, end up living at this home for children run by like nuns. And Billy basically gets triggered every Christmas. So the majority of the year he's a pretty good kid, but Christmas just sets him off and he kind of starts to remember things more and more as he grows up. And then we fast forward to him as an 18-year-old, and he ends up getting a job at this toy store where at Christmas he gets forced into playing Santa at this toy store. And that's what really kind of starts to trigger everything again, is it being Christmas time, him being in the Santa suit, and then his coworker gets assaulted by one of his other coworkers, and that like really sets him off on this killing spree. But it takes so much to get there, follow him so much, and then even after he starts killing, there's still even more waiting. There's waiting kind of in between, and there's really not a whole lot of death in this film. There's a few people get killed, obviously, you know, that's not great, but it's mostly, I feel like, a tension film. It's a lot of waiting, which is okay. I love slasher films, but I tend to prefer whodunit style and a lot more, you could say, action in my slasher films, but I didn't hate it. One thing that I did notice while watching this that I really wanted to point out, so this film came out in the 80s, 84 to be specific, and which it definitely has a vibe, you can definitely tell. But one thing that they do a few times in this film is this very odd kind of montage music. There's scenes where they play these songs that are really like upbeat, that remind you very much of like an 80s or even 90s like sitcom theme song. Like think of Full House with like montage where they're going through the people when the song's really like upbeat. They have that in a few scenes in the film, and it just kind of takes you out of the creepy vibe a little bit. Like it's just a little bit too peppy, and it's such strange placement and weirdness for what's supposed to be a horror film. It just felt very strange and odd to me, but it's definitely very 80s music. I just want to point that out because it felt so strange to me. And another kind of last thing to talk about with this film is another Christmas movie that it reminded me of, and that was actually Black Christmas, the original, which I did review that last year as well. So if you want to see me review that, check that out. But the main character in this film, like I said, his name is Billy, and spoiler warning for Black Christmas, if you haven't seen the original, the killer in that movie's name is Billy as well. And I kind of felt like you could watch this film. It felt almost like it could be a little bit of a prequel to Black Christmas, which I'm not exactly sure when that film came out. It may have come out before this one, but it definitely felt like it could be like a backstory to Billy's situation and why he ends up doing what he does in Black Christmas. Because in Black Christmas it's a mystery, which is part of the fun of Black Christmas. But I just kind of wondered if anybody else ever got that vibe? Ever felt that way watching this film? If I'm not the only one, feel free to let me know. I just thought that that was kind of funny. Billy seeming to be a common name in these horror Christmas films. So if you have seen Silent Night, Deadly Night, let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. Again, let me know what horror Christmas movie you think that I should watch next. Do you think that I should try and find the sequel to watch? Let me know. And if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more horror related content, and I'll see you guys again later with another video. Bye!